What is up, ladies and gentlemen of the online Jamily? JamiroFan 2000 here with yet another episode of JamiroFan Talks About. For the uninitiated in this series here on my YouTube channel, this has been my periodic discussion channel where I take a look at the past, present, and future of Jamiroquai and they're now over 31 years in music and influential making. Now, this is going to be yet another JamiroFan Talks About grappling with the topic, the very polarizing topic in this current technological world of artificial intelligence. Now, just recently, another major petition came out from, in this case, musicians kind of protesting the idea that their music could be potentially used for artificial intelligence model training. Now, this open letter, which was spearheaded by the band Radiohead and now has over 10,500 signatures from other musicians, producers within the music industry, asking the providers of artificial intelligence to not use their music. That's right, do not use their pre-existing musical catalogs in any possible potential artificial intelligence model training in the future. But Mike, everything in technology, and the last time this situation kind of happened where there was a big kind of united front against technology was, of course, back in the early 2000s and late 90s with the advent of online internet piracy of music. Now, the digitalization of music was one of the most jarring things to hit the music industry since other musical formats were developed back in the 1970s into the 1980s and the 1990s. And that was the only other time when the music industry kind of was up in arms against this an unknown technologically derived technology that came along and kind of upended the possible financial livelihoods of the music labels as much as the artists themselves. And the record industry would kind of blindly end up doing a lot of martyrdoms on several people out there who were illegally sharing copyrighted music back then when they didn't fully understand the bit of an internet piracy gold rush that was happening at the time. Inevitably, that technology for peer-to-peer for that music piracy era in the early 90s from websites like Lime, or per se programs like Napster and LimeWire, just to name a few, would end up becoming basically the technological infrastructure of a lot of the music streaming platforms that we come to know by granted, like Spotify and Hulu and all these different paywall distribution services for movies, TV shows, and music. So in this case, artificial intelligence has been pretty much one of the biggest hot button venture capital opportunities in all of the world industry now, in the world economy, I should say. And it does not surprise me that JK of Jamiroquai would be one of the many luminaries, at least in music, that have signed on to this second major petition. Now, there was a petition prior to this one that came out, but this one is really pointed as the name of the petition, by the way, is Statement on AI Training, and all these artists are signed on to this petition, basically requesting that their music does not get used in any potential training of artificial intelligence-based models or technology into the foreseeable future. Now, as for my opinion on this very hot-button topic of artificial intelligence, much like the lesson the music industry learned the first time around, as I pointed out, with the early days of music piracy back in the late 90s and early 2000s, the technology of artificial intelligence is kind of like the genie out of the lamp situation now, and is literally about 2 to 3 years removed since artificial intelligence kind of jumped into a very regenerative permutation of narrow artificial intelligence, because that's the artificial intelligence that is being presently developed with a great majority is narrow AI, or narrow artificial intelligence, which can't really, after a lot of computation, think for itself. It is only a form and function kind of artificial intelligence, where you basically dictate something in, let's just say, a text prompt, and then it puts back out to the best of its ability, using all of the assets of the internet in this case, or whatever is available to them, to recreate whatever you describe. And in the case of music, there have been some popular services like Suno and a few others that have been watching artificial intelligence get into these bewildering directions of self-replicative creativity. So I can understand why the music industry and musicians alone and artists are very, very concerned about this rather uncontrolled, unchecks and balanced regulation of artificial intelligence continuing its technological quantum march forward to potentially have their music compromised in the potential of having their music either mocked, copycatted, or even released as not official music without some kind of safeguards or goalpost there to inform the potential musical listener or customer that what they're listening to isn't actually from an actual artist, that it's just a cheap facsimile conjured up by artificial intelligence. And like I said, this is one of the biggest hot button topics in the world right now, and at least in the topic of technology. And I mean, at least in the case of these musicians coming out and signing this petition, at least the industry will now know, the artificial intelligence industry, like OpenAI, Microsoft, and all these other providers of artificial intelligence. At least they'll be aware of what artists don't want their music to be used for, the potential training of these artificial intelligence models, programs, what have you, to become better, faster, quicker in possible future regenerative properties to be used as products or as programs in the industry. But like I said, technology in the world today really has been kind of late out of the gate. At least humanity has been late out of the gate, and trying to say, hey, putting some checks and balances and to regulate this ever fast and growing field of, pretty much the entirety of the technological field now is pretty much in artificial intelligence. Now you have all these programs and all these tech companies just jumping onto the artificial intelligence bandwagon, not realize the repercussions on real live artists, musicians, and all these other human-born creatists who create all of this amazing art for us to enjoy, but don't really understand that this artificial intelligence, which has been used in the past, mostly in misinformation online, to facilitate the mass inundation on social media of misinformation in many, many different other circles, like in journalism and many other aspects, being used and being weaponized to mislead and misinterpret people. So it's no different that in the music industry would be kind of a little bit afraid of artificial intelligence being used not as a supported device in making music distribution or music creativity or music promotion easier, but potentially being a threat to the very livelihood of the art form. So it does not surprise me that JK, pretty much the only band members of Jamiroquai that signed on to this petition of 10,500 other artists. But it's a very interesting topic, and I'm most interested in hearing all of opinions from my fellow Jamily on this topic. Do you believe that artificial intelligence, at least used when properly, is a threat to the music industry and to the music livelihood of musicians and artists out there in the world, or do you think it can be wielded to actually benefit all these said artists in the world to make the art form, the distribution, the creation of that said art much better? I'm most interested in hearing your opinions on this, so please feel free to leave your opinions down in the YouTube comments section down below. And if you're interested in reading this amazing article from stereogum.com, a little bit about this petition, about statement on AI training, or if you'd like to read the petition for yourself and see what musicians have signed on to this petition, I'll be sure to put links to the article and, of course, the petition itself down in the description area of this episode of JamiroFan Talks About down below. So be sure to check that out in your own time, and I look forward to reading all your opinions down in the YouTube comments. But as always, this is JamiroFan 2000, and I'll see you again really soon with more Jamiroquai related content here on the JamiroFan 2000 YouTube channel. Bye bye, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you around.